Hello, hello.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Is
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I just got done with the physics lab, so that's what we're gonna be talking about today is physics.
Yo, awesome. One of my favorite topics. Not really, but you know how it is.
So the topic is how do you study physics for the Mcat in your pre-med classes, since this is heavily on the Mcat. So let's get into it. So the first topic is understanding your relationships. So force equals mass times acceleration, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a basic general one, but understanding like why that
Yes.
is why force is mass times acceleration. So if something's big accelerating towards you, it's gonna have a force and it's gonna annihilate you pretty much. I think that's a good way to explain it. I don't know.
Right.
But the other equation on the slide is Q equals mc delta t. Do you know what that means?
No.
So Q is heat, while heat depends on the mass of the object, which makes sense. For bigger objects, there's a bigger object, it's going to take more heat to use on it. C is a specific heat capacity, which is basically the heat required to raise the temperature. And T is temperature, obviously, so change in
Yeah.
temperature. And so
Is this a physics one or physics two?
this is physics 2, because that's what I'm actually in right now, so I was trying to
Oh,
relate it
okay.
to that.
I haven't taken physics two yet, but I will.
A lot of these equations I saw on my Mcat, so I'm just mentioning them here
Really?
too. A good bit of them,
Wow.
like the sound and stuff was on there. So,
Okay.
and the third equation is Q over T equals Ka delta T over D. So basically, what D is the thickness of the material. So Qt is like rate of heat transfer. And so if a material is thicker, it's obviously going to be a lower heat transfer. But if,
Right.
it's, but if a wall is thinner, the heat transfer is going to go better. Just by using the common sense like that, people can get better grades in physics. Just by using logic, really. Make sense to you?
So, would you recommend taking the class first before taking the MCAT, or would you recommend studying for the MCAT before you take the Physics 2 class?
It really depends, because like physics 2 classes are way more detailed than like the MCAT is.
Okay.
Most of them
So the
are.
MCAT shows mostly like Physics 1 detail?
Physics 1, physics 2, but it's mostly like no understanding equations for the MCATs, understanding like relationships between the two. Like if I say the mass is increased, what's gonna happen to your heat? And like stuff like that.
All right.
So the second tip is, let's get to that. Practice questions. I think, yeah. So remember how I was
Love
talking about
it.
practice questions?
Yes.
I think everyone else is sick of hearing about practice questions, but they help you escape the illusion of knowing. Have you ever felt that you know something, then you take a test, and you're like,
The illusion of knowing. I love that. Yes.
"That's what it is." It's like I know it really well. I studied it all night, and it's like you take the test, and you're like,
And
"I
then you take
failed."
the test, and then and then yep, yep, and then you messed up, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. So like practice questions really helps you not have that feeling that you know something when you really don't. And
Now, is there any place besides just doing the practice questions from the book that you have found that actually helps you practice the practice questions? Do practice questions? Is
uh,
there any?
yeah, Google.
No, I mean, like, is there any website that you used, or were you just using like books?
It's just different. You just approach either Google what topic you want, because some websites have better questions than others. There's like no specific website I found for physics.
Well, if you're listening to this, create one,
Exactly. But
make one, and use it for MCAT. The traffic will make you a lot of money.
practice questions always will help you figure out patterns of questions. So like physics is all about wording. I don't know if
That's
you
yeah.
realize
That's
that.
one of the biggest things. Yes, patterns, and yes, 100%.
Because if you say a question one way, it's going to mean completely different. And you have to figure out something, a different way to solve it. So it's like, I don't have an example off the top of my head, but if you go through a physics book, you'll find out really quick what I mean. And then the third thing on the slide is you get to do active learning. So practice questions is active learning, which is better for memory retention, better for learning. So do you
One
agree?
of my friends, what he did was he would go to office hours and he will actually like spend like half or sometimes all of the professor's office hours trying to ask the professor like can you like reteach me this again, like even if he like went to class he didn't understand one concept, you have to go to office hours, ask the professor to help you. They might even make some like problems on the spot for you and might review them, or like if you have a cool professor, like he might make some a few problems and then like whenever you come back next time for his class, he'll review them and he will like correct them for free. So it's like literally taking a free test, a mini quiz or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Oops. Um, so take advantage of that. I did that for microbiology. I never did it for math because I'm not, a math person. So I kind of really avoided that. But I did it for micro. I did it for bio, so that worked.
I've done that as well for OChem, so it does really help if you do that.
I
And
wish
now,
my OChem professor would have been like a lot better. He just assumed that you should know what you should know. And I understand, like whenever you're in a level of intelligence, like you think that, or you probably are just really smart, and then you kind of like assume that the student should know this, and if the student doesn't know, it's kind of like his fault. And I understand that. I understand his point of view, but like he was kind of like he was not really easy to reach. You know what I mean? Like when a couple of questions, he was like he would explain it once, and he would just kind of wait for you and kind of assume and like you got it in like 30 seconds and I'm like
yeah,
yeah, no.
my OChem teacher was a redneck who failed OChem 3 times, so he knew the
Wait,
struggle
what, your OChem professor failed OChem?
3 times when he was taking it as a student.
What?
Best teacher ever because he knew why students fail. He knew exactly all the tricks they fall into and everything.
So did anybody hated that professor?
No, everyone loved him because he was amazing.
Man, we need more of those. We need more of those. We can't have any of those stuck up teachers that like just because they're smart they know everything or whatever. They're not willing to like go above and beyond. We need down to earth people, down to earth teachers. If you find one, stick with it. He will write you a letter of recommendation. He will teach you a lot more stuff. They usually have tons of books, and you can read there for free. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk more about him in the next video, which is about how to master OChem. So better watch the next video,
Okay.
guys.
All right.
So the final tip is learning from different modalities. What's that mean, Mitchell?
I don't know. What does that mean? What different types of learning?
Yeah, so you have multiple senses, so visual, audio, kinesthetic. And you can make use of all that. So watch
I mean, I
videos.
don't think you can learn physics from audio. I mean, you can kind of listen to the video without watching it, but you kind of have to see the formula.
Yeah, but using all at once. So if you're watching a video and listening to and writing at the same time, you're using all 3 senses.
Make sure you check out Khan Academy. That will teach you a lot of physics. That's how I learn.
The Khan Academy is really good. I was watching them actually today for one of the topics.
Check out Khan Academy. Check out other YouTube videos.
But while you're watching the videos, take summary type notes. So don't just write word for word what they're doing. Write out like the summary of like the main ideas, like what equation they're using and why are they using that. Have you done that?
No, I've actually never done that.
It helps a good bit. The third tip is reading blogs, different books, etc. And also find quizzes online. There's a lot of like physics blogs out there, surprisingly. There's a Feynman blog, as we talk about Richard Feynman all the time. There's actually a website dedicated to him.
Wow.
But those physics notes are super in depth. Like they're like not the basic Mcat physics or the pre-med physics. They're like the calculus-based physics. It's like, oh, this is over my head. Get me
Oof.
out of here.
Yes. Maybe not. Yes.
But it's like his notes when like people typed out like his explanations on material and stuff. It's really helpful if you understand that stuff. I used to in high school. But
That's good.
also using different books. So like different books have different ways of explaining something. So you might get it from a different way of explaining it. Different ways of explaining it on a blog. They have extra practice problems you can do in different books, obviously, because it's a different book. So check
Yeah.
those out too. Do you have anything you want to add for physics?
Um, no, not really. Just can't get better at it if you don't practice. So you have to practice, practice, practice.
Sounds good. Practice is always the key in anything, really. So we'll see you in the next video, guys.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go back to
Peace.
study, yeah? All right.